Hebrews. This is our Prophets of Awakening. It's our men's advanced Bible study, 3rd of August, 2021. We're going to be dealing with Joshua 67 a little later on in the class. Okay, I'm asking everybody to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification button. So, and if you feel the need to support the channel, you know what the Cash App is. It says this is a non-Messianic channel. Tanakh and Torah. Tanakh is the Old Testament, and you gotta do something with your camera and your mic. So with that being said, I'm gonna say shalom and welcome everybody. We're gonna go through our moment of silence and prayer, and then do a little song. Okay. Oh Lord, we come before thee at this hour and time to thank thee and praise thee for thy strength and thy love and thy great power. Oh Lord, we come before thee with praise because we understand now who you are, and we appreciate you. We appreciate your love, we appreciate your wisdom, we appreciate your consistency, and we appreciate your persistence and understanding. And we understand your position in the heavens and in the earth. Therefore, we come this day seeking love, wisdom, consistency of spirit, patience, and understanding. Peace be unto you, O Lord. Okay. Read the song. Shamar, you got the devices not connected. Got to connect your devices. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna read Psalm 5. It's a prayer for protection. It's a Psalm of David. It says, "Give ear to my words, O Lord. Consider my meditation. Hearken unto the voice of my cry, my King and my God. For unto thee will I pray. My voice shalt thou hear in the morning, O Lord. In the morning will I direct my prayer unto thee, and I will walk up, and I will look up, and thou art not, for thou art not a God that hath pleasure in wickedness, neither shall evil dwell with thee. The foolish shall not stand in thy sight. Thou hatest all workers of iniquity. Thou shalt destroy them that speak leasing. The Lord will abhor the bloody and the deceitful man. But as for me, I will come into thy house in the multitude of thy mercy, and in thy fear will I worship toward thy holy temple. Lead me, O Lord, in my righteousness because of mine enemies. Make thy way straight before my face. For there is no faithfulness in their mouth. The inward parts is very wickedness. Their throat is an open sepulchre. That flatter with their tongue. Destroy thou them, O God. Let them fall by their own counsels. Cast them out in the multitude of their transgressions, for they have rebelled against thee. But let all those that put their trust in thee rejoice. Let them forever shout for joy, because thou defended them. Let them also that love thee, that love thy name, be joyful in thee. For thou, Lord, will bless the righteous. With favor will thou compass him as with a shield. Okay, those Psalms 5. Okay. So with that being said, anybody got any current events they want to bring up?
Yeah, Leonard. I don't know if it was on the share group. I can't remember what it is. Just how my memory works. But it was some lady that used to work for Pfizer was talking about there's a poisonous, some kind of poison linked into that the vaccines.
Oh yeah, it is.
And that if it's runs off electrodes or whatever like that. And so if there's, let's say if one of us gets sick and have to hit us with that old, whatever they use, the EMTs use, and that can give or take where it's at in your body collected at, that can charge that and destroy whatever area of your body like a gunshot or something.
Right. Yeah. That's it. They go back to that nanotechnology.
Yeah.
We got nanobots. But that's been there.
At any time, once it's in your body, and I went on and got that shot because of I have a sickly person in my house, so I'm like, ugh, man,
Right. They did some.
yeah,
Yeah, it has
Right.
those nanotech particles inside of that vaccine.
Right.
And some of the conspiracy theorists out there saying that that with all the 5G towers that they putting up, and that's part of this Biden infrastructure plan, is to put up more 5G towers. That when they activated the 5G towers, it will act like a remote control for those with those nanoparticles,
Right. Exactly.
nanotech particles in their bodies. Yes.
Right. Right. It's sort of like a controller for the whole system they got set up.
Right.
And it's been in the water. And the nanobots been in the water. It's been in everybody's bodies.
So are
So
you
they
calling me a robot?
somewhat.
Not until they turn it on. Turn it.
I
Okay.
had to mess with you, man.
Yeah, that's the goal, is to control society
Right.
through nanotechnology.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Don't forget them George Guidestones. Let me holler at this brother right here. Shamar, you gotta connect your mic. Your mic and your cam, then I can bring you up. Okay, yeah. So that's those nanobots is tied to that to the hearts. It's tied to a frequency. That frequency is going they send it out and it triggers those nanobots. Yeah, but that's a crazy man talking right there. So nobody don't they don't even
Right.
believe
They call it conspiracy. Yeah, that's
right,
conspiracy
right.
theorists talking.
They don't even believe that they can control the weather. So they think that's a fantasy. Okay. Yeah. So anybody got anything else? Oh, I got a couple. Okay. One of them is right here. Okay. Yeah, this right here saying that it's COVID deaths are up 80% in Africa amid the spread of the Delta variant vaccine nationalism. That's the WHO, World Health Organization, said African countries saw an 80% increase in COVID deaths in the past 4 weeks, an alarming surge largely driven by the fast-spreading Delta variant and the world's unjust distribution of vaccines. The World Health Organization said the deadly strain, which has now been detected in at least 132 countries, has complicated efforts to slow the spread of the virus across the continent and overwhelm its struggling health care system. Meanwhile, only 1.5% of the African population is fully vaccinated, according to the agency. Many African countries have prepared well to roll out vaccines, but the vaccines have not arrived. Say the WHO Director General Tedros, I can't say that name, God Jesus said, said at a news conference Friday at the current pace, nearly 70% of African countries will go into 2022 with less than 10% of their people vaccinated against COVID-19, he projected. Okay. He said parts of the problem is the vaccine nationalism by some of the world's wealthiest nations, which have focused on stockpiling life-saving shots over sharing them with the poorer nations. Think that's something? Is that Israelites? Ain't that something?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
yeah.
We got a vaccine before. Ain't that something? Okay. Any comments? Okay, got another one. Okay, right here is it's got to do with well, you know, what's going on in Africa. Like I said, this whole thing ain't nothing but a big Hollywood movie. That's all it is. So, while that's going on,
mega project in Ghana, which is set to change the face of the country. Ghana's focus on infrastructure growth is aimed at driving socio-economic development and enabling greater productivity within the various sectors of the economy. Here are 10 completed projects in Ghana, presented in no particular order.
Like the Africa,
on number 10, we have Tema Port Expansion Project Phase 1. Construction works on the expansion began in October 2016. The refurbishment works are expected to boost the port's cargo handling capacity to approximately 3.5 million 20-foot equivalent units and facilitate the accommodation of large container ships. They are also expected to create roughly 1,000 jobs during construction and 5,000 direct jobs once fully operational. The expansion project, which involves the reclamation of approximately 120 hectares of land area from the sea, in addition to the construction of a 1.4 meter lofty wall with a 4 meter deep berth in order to accommodate larger vessels measuring 360 meters long. The expansion initiative is being funded by the World Bank Group's International Finance Corporations and the NPS shareholders.
Okay.
This 80-year-old man just made. But now we have the Pokowasi interchange. The fourth interchange at Pokowasi is the first of its kind in Ghana, the first of its kind in West Africa, and the second in the whole of Africa. It was founded with an African Development Bank concessional loan of $83 million US, with the construction works
That's Ghana, what you're looking at.
Zhongli Engineering Group Limited of China. The Pokowasi interchange, one that has been described by the President of Ghana as an interchange never seen before. It's not just another majestic edifice beautifying the skylines of Accra. The project has always been projected to be one of the biggest in the country and was commissioned on July 9, 2021. The total cost of the project from its initial construction was to be at about $94 million US. It was supposed to be split between the government of Ghana and the African Development Bank. On number 8, we have the Kotoka Airport Terminal 3. The expansion of the Kotoka International Airport supports the country's ambition to upgrade its vital infrastructure by modernizing and transforming the Kotoka Airport into a gateway for West Africa and as a regional aviation hub. It also contributes to the country's economy by facilitating market connectivity and reducing business costs. The Kotoka International Airport expansion SkyTrain project, which is being planned to run on platforms over the city of Accra. It will be a community train and not an intercity one. At the moment, the feasibility studies have been completed and it's being studied before the contract is signed. The government in 2019 signed an agreement with South African group African Investment SkyTrain Consortium for the construction of the SkyTrain project. This was to solve the ever-increasing road traffic congestion in Accra, with its detrimental effect on economic activity, pollution, and the quality of life. SkyTrain systems are prefabricated using precision-molded, pre-stressed, reinforced concrete components that are capable of being installed at a very rapid rate, meaning that there is a minimal disruption and congestion in the urban area that is undergoing installation and commissioning. The proposed SkyTrain initiative in Accra provides for development of 5 routes, 4 of which are comprised of radial routes that originate at the proposed SkyTrain terminal at the heart of Accra, at a newly developed Kwame.
Does that look like Africa to you?
No, but it looks like a beautiful thing. I tell you that.
Okay. And then some. Okay. Yeah, I got this video right here. I'm getting ready to play out of Messenger. So we're gonna watch it, and then anybody got any comments? Thought it was pretty interesting. Here we go.
Things that start to unfold. Okay, well,
sorry about the noise. I hope you can still hear me.
Oh, I can hear you clearly.
Okay. So one of the things I looked at was, you know, the Most High said he would use the sun, moon, and stars for signs and seasons. Yeah. So, you know, he would be giving us signs in the sky, and America got a big sign in the sky in 2017. Yeah, the Great American Eclipse, which went through 7 places called Jerusalem or Salem in America. Yeah, against all odds. How the path of this eclipse could go through 7 Salems is like beyond any chance whatsoever. Yeah, and it happened on August 21st, which was 398 years to the day when the first slave touched down in America. Okay, so I can't see that as coincidence. And then add to that my son, when I told my son this, he went away, did a bit of research, and he come back and he said, Dad, did you know that in 1619, I think it's in April 1619, West Africa got an eclipse. So literally, the path of this eclipse would have meant that everybody in sub-Saharan Africa would have seen at least a partial eclipse, you know, a few months before the first slaves were taken. Yeah. So there are signs being shown, and you know, these days they turn these signs into entertainment. Yeah, so that we don't know the prophetic nature of these signs. But the point about this one in 2017, right? Well, 7 years on from that eclipse, there's another eclipse happening. It's in 2024. Okay, goes across America the other way.
Makes an X, right?
Makes an X. And what's the number X or ta in Paleo Hebrew? 400. Okay. So where it makes the X just so happens to be the point at where that first eclipse, which you know, where everywhere you see the total eclipse, it lasts for a certain amount of time. But in this particular spot, it lasted for a few milliseconds longer than anywhere else. Yeah, just happens to be the same place that the second eclipse crosses, right? Which is over the New Madrid fault line in America, which is one of the most active fault lines in the States, and that's connected to the Yellowstone fault line. And underneath Yellowstone is a supervolcano, which in 2018 started to wake up. Literally, they had to close the park several times because new geysers started to erupting, and the ground started going up and down 6 feet. Yeah, so it seems like, you know, Yellowstone is preparing, and they've already said if that volcano goes, it's going to take 3/4 of America with it immediately. Yeah, so I'm not saying I'm a prophet or anything, but just looking at these signs, is that I'm just saying that somewhere in or around 2024, America is going to disappear, just like it says in Second Esdras. The middle head of the 3-headed eagle is going to suddenly disappear. So that's why I'm saying that the Exodus, the second Exodus, has to happen at some point before 2024. So literally back in 2017, when just before this first eclipse went over, I was saying, we're going to see some amazing things in between these 2 eclipses. Yeah, and we're already seeing amazing things. Yeah. So that's my view. That we're coming up to, we've got signs in the sky showing us. One other thing. 2018, on August 21st, 2018, the 399th year, most people don't realize was the biggest slave revolt in Earth's history happened on that day. Okay, and most people haven't heard about it. So in America, there is one place where slavery is legal. Do you know where that is?
I have no idea.
Prison.
Well, certainly, yes. Prison industrial complex, yep.
Indeed, and it's in the 14th Amendment. Yeah, you can be a legal slave if you've been convicted of a crime, right? Yeah. So on August 21st, 2018, right, the whole of the prison population in America stopped working. They refused to work. It was the biggest slave revolt in history. But you know, you can go and search it on Google or whatever. Yeah, you'll find that was the day they chose to not work anymore. You know? So I can't see that as coincidental. So yeah, we're leading up to, as I said, I'm thinking that America is going to disappear. You know, in some point in the next 3 years, you know, or the end of the next 3 years. So that's all about. I didn't stun you into silence, you know.
Brother Henry, got anything to say about that?
What was this?
Brother Henry or yourself, anybody got anything to say about that? Because according to my understanding, as far as the prophecy goes, I thought that America was going to be wiped out by missiles, that it was going to be a gathering of nations.
Be attacked.
Yeah, and the Most High calls it the weapons of his indignation, and you can see countries like Russia building what they call, you know, I forget they name so many of these missiles. I mean, there's so many of these missiles. It's hard to keep up, but they're in gathering.
No,
sorry, go ahead.
I'm going to say if the volcano erupts, that's going to be like a missile.
Oh, okay. See that? Okay.
Yeah, you understand. If a big volcano erupts, everything flies, everything's gone.
Yeah. I was in reference to with the Isaiah chapter 13. Also when he talks about this is Jeremiah 50 and 51, he mentions a gathering of nations coming together to, you know, to destroy the land. Now I've learned a lot of things too in this book. Like the Most High does things in multiple ways. Even like the flood, a lot of people when they look at the flood, they think it was just raining for 40 days and 40 nights. But when they don't read the other part, was he said the great deep was broken up, which means he caused the ocean to rise. You know, so he broke up the great deep. So it was actually water coming from two different areas. We had, two different. It was coming from the sky, and also it was coming from water. You know, so it could be a multiple of things. You know, he could use that to wipe out half the, a third of the country. He could use the bombs to wipe out the other 2/3 of the country. You know, in this instance, they both can play out like that. So, yeah, that's what we put. Mention that.
I think the thing that's really struck me was the line, and again, I can't give you a quick chapter and verse, but the line that says, "The merchants will weep from afar off." When America, well, it's got to be America, the biggest consumer of this world, suddenly disappears. All the merchants are going to be
the merchants are gone.
Yeah. So yeah, and that's the way I see it from looking around. But who knows? We're all kind of trying to play catch up and second guess what the Most High is going to do. But as it says, it's going to be in such a way that we're just going to go, wow. We're not going to talk about how he did it in Egypt. We're going to be talking about how he does it now.
Exactly.
We're currently seeing a fleeing of all the major manufacturers out of America anyway, in order to cut costs. All right, not have to deal with all the different things that they have to deal with in America. We're actually over the last month and a half or so, they're saying that our inflation has gone up 4-point-something%. So the average American family is feeling it. Those who have been well off are no longer so. Those who have been comfortable are now being made uncomfortable. So things are changing here drastically. And what we're seeing is exactly as the book has stated, is different peoples are drawing to their own people. So you're not having this mesh and this cohesiveness that they once thought that they had. All the wickedness of this place is being exposed every day on the cameras. And so we're seeing all of these things taking place right now. What's going on with our people is that many of them are seeing it, but they're not quite clear what they're looking at because most of them have not read the book. So you're seeing a thing, but sometimes when a man sees a thing, you have to explain to him what it is he's looking at. And so many of our people are not, they're just looking at this as just another economical downturn. But the place is being stripped every day, and the other nations are militarily building their weaponry. And they're certainly systematically cutting the power of the US dollar and cutting the use thereof. So the place is being isolated. We can see certainly over the last 2 years, as it pertains to the UN, that the United States has been shunned upon by the UN and many of its votes. So we're seeing a change in things here in America and worldwide. So everything that Dave is stating and that which I'm seeing in the book, they are coming to pass. They're coming to pass slowly, but I'm thinking that it's all going to happen just like that. And if you are not read and you are not certain in which way to go, you're not going to have an opportunity to make that choice. It will be entirely too late. That's why, I made it a point when I came into the light, came into the Most High's truth. My first response was, based on what I have seen and what I've been allowed to see, it is my duty to teach my people this. And I love the YouTube platform because you can present the information and they have an opportunity to make their own choices. Because many of our people are very combative. They're very rebellious, as the book states. They will argue about you or with you pertaining to the book, and they have never cracked that book open up one time. But yet they will argue based on what they have heard, what they were told, and what they believe, and they have never read the book. So the YouTube platform allows you to present some information, and those who will seek it, and those who won't. But you don't have to deal with the contention of the men of Israel and the contention of the women of Israel who refuse to hear.
Also, what you mentioned about the other nations in America becoming isolated, it's also prophesied that even his mother, which is Great Britain,
England,
he don't even want to deal with it anymore. You know what I mean? And you witnessing that now. Like, a lot of the countries are turning against it. America's going to be on the island all by itself. So even when that time comes where these nations start to gather together against it, it ain't going to have any allies.
There you go.
Okay. Okay, anybody got any comments?
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think with the destruction of America and all what's going on, I believe the Exodus has already started.
Oh yeah, right, exactly. Oh,
not the mass Exodus, but
right.
Piece by piece. It's a lot of people leaving, and the Lord of Hosts is putting it in their spirits to go back to Africa.
Right. Right. And a lot of them is if they ain't going to Africa, they going in that area, in that region, so that when they do really, like what they saying, when they go down, because it's gonna go down, they in the area. They still can come there where it is right there. So you can see that it's all happening, right?
Right.
Like the brother said, they want to contend with you, but they ain't read the book. They think they got a right to say something about it, but they haven't dove into it and did no research. So you can't really you kicking at the bricks because you ain't even you don't have nothing to fight with because you haven't got into it to see what it's actually saying. Yeah,
that's the ongoing battle right there, Leonard, is when you're talking to other people who the followers of JC. Have you ever read Enoch? Have you read any of the other books? No, I'm going to stick with the 66. If God would have approved of that, he would have never let him make you do the 66. But I'm like, you can fall back on Deuteronomy 28 and it'll let you know what is going on. What about that? That's in the 66. It told you what's going to happen. And there's
Right.
they can't answer the fact, well, what happened to the people of Deuteronomy 28 if we know that our ancestors were the only ones came over here on slave ships? What about that? Well, we don't
Right.
teach that. Really?
Right. You can't even. I mean, that's just something you just throw that away. You can't deal with that. You know, and that's crazy. That goes back to the, like I said, where the brainwashing came in. It was everything that's written in red. You know, the brainwashing with that, and that's a backlash from that because you know they ain't trying to hear nothing else. Yeah. It
Yeah,
just
that
sounds.
right there touched the heart right there. When I watched that today, it pulled on the heartstrings. Right?
Oh yeah, right. Oh yeah, yeah. It did. That was good. Yeah. Let me see what my man talking about right here. Says that Jeremiah 49:10 says Esau's seed is spoiled. Says if Amalek father Esau and the Philistines are giants, doesn't that imply Esau's seed was spoiled from the jump? Yeah, yeah, he spoiled from the jump. Yeah, you're right. And then he really became spoiled when he intermingled with Japhet. That's who the fourth beast is. Edom. He mixed the seed. He don't care about like you're saying, the seed already spoiled, so he don't care about intermingling. And it tells you that in Genesis 32, I believe it is, that he grieved Rebecca and Esau because he Rebecca and Isaac, because he didn't care about his progeny. He went on and he went and married those giant women and married a Ishmaelite woman. He didn't care. So yeah,
What,
you're right.
Leonard, what area, what it said when it was describing Esau and Jacob as teenagers, young men, that the elders and the people that when Esau was out and about in the common areas, they looked at him as a deviant. He was just his mannerisms. He would
Right,
rather steal it than buy it. He had the money. He'd rather take it by force than to pay for something, to
right,
have intellectual common conversations with people.
right. You say where that's at?
Yeah, he was talking about how deviant he was. I can't think of it right off the top of my head.
Yes, it
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
sound like Jasher.
I was thinking back to that else, but I just didn't know where. But that's giving me more reason to go back and read
Yeah,
Jasher.
we got to find that so we can rank, so we can give the scriptures. Right. I read that. I think it's in Jasher.
I'll check it out. I'll check it out again.
Okay. Let me see this other question. It says in Judges 60, in Judges 6:39, Gideon says, "Allow me one more test with the fleece." However, in Matthew 8:26, JC says, "You of little faith." And that being said, is faith a New Testament concept inspired by Buddhism? Yeah, but when you like I said, when you all Christianity is a combination of all the pagan religions, pagan concepts that all roll together. They roll it all together as Council of Nicaea. Faith comes from the Druids. The Druids are the one that they imposed faith on. They was the ones dealing with faith. Merlin and the Druids, there was those. They was like a priesthood. Uh, they the ones that was dealing with Stonehenge. Call them Druids. Just you can do research on that. They had the long white robes on, but they was descendants from giants. They was the one. They were the actual ones that when you say faith, they the ones who dealing. They the ones came up with faith, and they took that word right there and attached it to Abraham. Say that Abraham lived by faith. And then he sacrificed Isaac by faith and all that. But faith and the concept of that and all that came from the Druids. Yeah.
And to expound on that, how could Abraham live by faith if he having direct communication with the Most High? See, that don't even make sense. He's having direct communication.
Right. They got away with that. They got away with that back in the day, but it's hammer time. Most I didn't.
What do you have to faith then? If he's seeing it with his own eyes and hearing it with his own ears.
Exactly.
They replace belief with faith, because our forefathers believed. They didn't have faith. If you look through the scriptures, the word was believe.
Right, exactly. Because you go back to Moses. After Moses left Mount Sinai, after he had an encounter with the Lord of hosts and the burning bush and all that, he left there on fire. He ain't like he going back to tell him about some God he think he saw. He know what he had dealt with and everything else. So he went back on fire, knowing what he had to do.
Right.
Exactly.
They had a testimony.
Right.
Faith leaves a lot to be questioned.
Right. Exactly. It's a trick. That's what it is. A trick of words. Is this on? Yeah. So we at the point right now where we're gonna open up for some little Q&A. If anybody got any questions that they came across that they want to pose right now, we're gonna read 67 of Jasher, maybe 68.
I got one. Hey, have you brothers read about the monkeypox virus that's starting up here in the U.S.?
Nah, what's up with it?
Well, evidently a traveler from Nigeria traveled into Dallas and and brought the monkeypox, and there's over 200 people infested with monkeypox.
Yeah, ain't that something?
Yeah.
Right.
And the CDC is now tracking the monkeypox virus here in the U.S.
It's in Nigeria. Huh?
Yeah. And then they had to call it monkeypox. You see what I'm saying?
Right. Is that something?
Right.
Yeah. It's I mean, just like Kenneth was just saying about how we never thought about our ignorance of the stuff that they just told us that we believe, like with evolution. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna say that we evolved from the ape. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That we evolved from the ape, but not only that, a black ape. You know what I'm saying? So
they all were black.
Yeah, but when you go look at the ape, you go look at the ape. Most of the apes they white.
Right. When you take that hair off of them, that skin is white.
Yeah, skin white, but all of a sudden, no, and we, like you say, we don't do the research, but all of a sudden, evolution, but it all came from a black ape.
If evolution was, as they said, and I was talking to my wife about this, if evolution and this Big Bang theory kind of like stuff was going, well, there shouldn't be no such thing as extinction. These animals and creatures of back in the day should be coming out of the desert or wherever, out of the ocean, just rebuilding themselves.
Right. Still evolving.
Exactly.
See the process. You ought to see the process now. Different stages of evolution, but that's garbage, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hey, fellas, that was a big bang, but not in the sense that these scientists and researchers are talking about.
Right.
But there was a big bang, pre-Adamic, pre-Adam, pre-flood.
Right.
Yeah, but they said that led to the evolution. That was just that static electricity.
Right. They got it all twisted and backwards, but
yeah.
But then, if you, like Leonard said, if you do the research and just read a little bit further, that was a destruction in the universe. There.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Right. A controlled demo. That's what it was.
Yep.
Something
amazing.
Oh yeah, and like I said, we don't think about that. Like I said, with JC. I mean, so let's look at that for a minute, because so he was immaculately conceived. You got to kill half the Negroes around here when you break this down. So he was immaculately conceived, right? So okay, let's go for that. That's cool. Well, what Joseph got to do with it? Why you saying that? Why is it so important to make? Well, they got two routes. They didn't develop two routes because of the lie that they told. Now it's Mary, because she the one told him. Mary is out of the lineage of David. You know, when they beat the other story up that Joseph was out of the lineage of David, and then you say, well, he can't be no son of David because Joseph ain't go into him. Joseph got David DNA in him. So if he didn't go into him, then it means who the daddy is. The angel the one overshadowed her.
That's what I was going to ask.
So you got to rule Joseph out. When you understand, when you use your head and DNA, how DNA work, the DNA ain't gonna just jump off David and jump on her. They got to come together. So they tell you he didn't. He was madly conceived. So now they jumped over there, Mary out of David lineage. They try to connect the dots, but the Yahweh already told you follow the lineage through the male.
Right.
So that story all chopped all up. All you gotta do is look at come on, man. That's the biggest, one of the biggest lies that's been told.
And the other fork in the road was that wouldn't he be a giant if that's the case?
Right, exactly.
He would be a giant.
But look at the story as it's told, right? Let's say we don't use this esocentric knowledge that we have come into. Let's just look at the story as it's told. That JC is immaculately conceived.
Right.
God has a law against adultery, right?
Right.
You ain't supposed to go into a married woman or even a woman that is betrothed, correct?
Right.
So God going to break his own law,
right,
and go and take of all the virgins that's in Israel. He gonna go get one that was betrothed to another man, sleep with her, and have a baby.
Right.
And tell us to keep the law.
Right.
That don't make sense to me at all. It never did.
No, you're right. You're 100% right.
And then, you know, they like I said, now that we waking up as Israelites, Most High pulling the wool off from over our eyes. Mm-hmm. So now you bring up these questions and bring up this reasoning like you just did. So guess what? They're gonna say one of the things they're gonna holler, he can do anything he want to do. Well, that's a lie. So
he's not gonna lie.
You say he overshadowed the Mary. He didn't, you know, he ain't do nothing to Mary. So what did he do? He played with it then. Because if he ain't do that, he played. See what I'm saying? Right. So if he formed Adam with his hands. So if he formed Adam, then in the story you told us about JC, that means he way more important. So he had to use his hands with JC too.
Right.
So what you saying? You know what I'm saying? So the lie gets bigger and bigger, and then you know what I'm saying? And he'll never sit down and say, "Well, come on, the brother owned to something." But you started following the narrative that it's impossible that a Israelite or black man can surmise all this and figure all this out.
Exactly.
Yeah, I spoke to a brother, a homeboy, Leonard. Spoke to him, and I talked to him about how Michael came. He was formed by God, and he's the Lord of hosts. Anytime you read in the Old Testament, Lord of hosts, he's referring to Michael. I said, so Michael being formed by God, and he is the man running the show, whether Holy One running the show with the assistance of the other 6 holy angels. So you said he's going to give up his position to JC? Where is that written? How is it? But you hear about him, the Lord of hosts, all over the Old Testament. Right. Where is that written? Where he said, I'm going to go, like we both military, I'm going to relieve my command and give it to JC.
Right.
It was a ceremony.
Right. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's so once you get a glimpse of what's going on and you get some kind of foundation, it's ludicrous.
And
You know?
by the way, he couldn't answer that. He was ready to leave, but once I presented that portion of it, he couldn't answer it.
But when you think a man so great, a man that's so worshiped, a man that's so revered, would have been spoken of at least one time
Right.
in the New Testament, just one time, just by name, just call him by name. Let's not imply his name. Shouldn't his name been spoken at least one time?
Right, exactly. Yeah, JC, Jesus.
Right.
You know,
Hey, I would accept the initials JC. I would even accept that.
Right.
He gonna come to you, and that's gonna be your savior.
And I expounded on that with Enoch. I said, Enoch is the man. I said, Enoch is the only flesh that never died and went to heaven. I said, don't you think out of the 66 books, if he wrote something, if he decided to write something, he ever wrote anything, don't you think that should have been in the 66 books?
Right.
I said, someone as unique as him and his situation and how he was chosen in his life in its entirety, why of all the people that's in the Bible that we know in the 66, why is he not there? But he does have books.
Right. Exactly.
Couldn't answer it. I said, that right there is, if you read his book, will change your whole concept. You will question everything you know, but don't want to read it.
Right. And then they told him. The thing about it is he tells you, you know, I mean, you can't get around it. It's something ain't right if it ain't registered, because he tells you he brought him up and told him to take the book back down. So then you got to ask yourself, what was they reading before they concocted the New Testament, and before they devised this King James Bible? What was they reading? What was our forefathers reading? They was reading the books of Enoch, the book of Enoch.
Yeah, we didn't even need no New Testament.
Right, we didn't need that.
I mean, that means the Lord of hosts changed his mind.
Right.
Thank you, Lamar. Thank you. That's what a New Testament means.
Yeah,
that I changed my mind.
I didn't mean all that what I said.
Right.
Exactly.
And I'm giving up my command.
Right.
Right. Exactly. And then another thing to look at is he holding this conversation. Can you imagine? You got a son or sons. He walking and talking with Adam. He walking and talking with Noah. He walking and talking with Moses and all them. But he don't never tell them he got a son hid in the bush somewhere.
That's what I'm saying. He
Thinking about
that.
What's righteous about that?
Oh, by the way, yeah, this is my son right here. Yeah. Tell him your name, son.
Yeah, he gonna come later and sit down and everything.
Right.
But he ain't never told nobody about it.
Right. Don't just go pick a name. Don't go just choose Emmanuel and all of this. Now you are called by JC. That's the name we need to see right there.
Right.
Where was that spoken?
Ain't that something? It ain't in there.
And all his people named after him. The Israelites back then, they had his name somewhere in their name.
Right.
And where does the JC has his name in it? Nowhere.
Nowhere, right.
Yeah, nobody named themselves after the Christ of the New Testament.
Right. And then you got to look at the four boys he got with him too: Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Them all Gentiles.
Right.
Ain't no Hebrew name.
Them Greek names.
Right. Then he turn around and give him Hebrew names like Paul, Shaul. Paul, come on, man. Shaul. Come on, you can't get no Greek Hebrew out of Paul. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Come on, they Gentiles. You gotta call them for what they is. It's John. Mark. Come on, man. That's a dead giveaway right there. That show you the level of the brainwashing and deception right there.
And you know, Amos 3, and you know, Amos 3:7, you know, he ain't gonna do nothing unless he reveal it
right
through his prophets.
Through his prophets.
So
And all
which one of them spoke of JC?
right, exactly. They all in the Old Testament. Yeah, ain't that so?
And it's beautiful the way the Lord of the hosts work nowadays with what going on with this judgment upon the nations.
Right,
He just as in Egypt with the 10 plagues, the 10
right,
plagues was against the gods of Egypt.
right.
So
Exactly,
nowadays, the Most High, the Lord of hosts, is doing the same thing with
exactly.
the judgments he's doing. It's against JC's miracles that he's said
Right,
he was going to do, like
right.
turning water into wine. You
So
know, in
true.
some cities, water is undrinkable. The Gulf of
Right.
Mexico is still polluted from the horizon oil spill that happened. You
Right.
know, you got where JC calms storms. The Most High bringing tornadoes, hurricanes, got wildfires all over.
Right.
It goes on and on of his miracles that somehow that the Most High has done something to oppose his miracles that he claimed to have done.
Right.
So this hands against the deity of this land
Right.
and these judgments that is happening each day.
Yeah,
Exactly.
he tried the gods of Egypt, and he's trying these false gods.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, just kind of look at all the miracles they claim JC did
Right.
and watch the judgments that's out there. It's like it's against, like for instance with the coronavirus, JC healed the sick, didn't he?
Right.
But now he got Delta variant.
Right.
Okay, time to show something, ain't it?
Right. Right. Like I said, like I was saying before, you look at the look on their face when they put that decree, because that's what it was out there that the churches had to close. You know what I'm saying? They never thought, they ain't nowhere in the New Testament. They ain't never thought in 1,000 years they gonna shut the churches down.
How you gonna shut the church down?
Yeah, not the church. I ain't seen nobody praying or laying no hands on nobody that had COVID-19.
Exactly.
Because it wasn't gonna work.
Because don't you supposed to be able to lay hands on the
Yeah,
sick and drink any old deadly thing? You can drink
Raise
poison.
the dead, all that.
Right.
Hey, fellas.
When Trump was talking about drinking that Clorox or bleach or whatever he was talking about, he was supposed to do that.
You're right.
Why they stopped?
Right.
Hey, y'all forgetting that lady that during Trump's election time frame was talking about the angels of Africa coming. So they
Follow White. Follow White.
Yeah.
So them angels doing some things, ain't they? They hiding and ducking and recanting. That's what they doing.
Yeah, that's the little baby angel.
Yeah. You had the Valentine's angels.
Yeah, that's a little baby angel with the big butt.
We getting off subject laughing at these folks.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy, man. Like I was saying before, if I have to go back 25 years, man, they can put me on the guillotine, cut my head off.
Man,
I can't believe that, went for that, man.
In our little small town, yeah, you would have got it.
It's a fabricated book. The whole
Right.
New Testament. It's just a gimme God, man.
Right. And then all about the people hollering about their weight,
Yeah, I'm woke. That's
you woke, but you moved JC to Yahshua.
Right.
But you awake. Come on, man.
I had this guy I used to work with, and he's a Hispanic guy when I was working in New Mexico. And he'd come into work on the second shift. I was like, man, why are you bringing this duffel bag with like bodies in it? He said, no, man, these are all the different books of the different religions and stuff like that. And he said Christianity and the Catholic Church is a feel-good profit religion.
Oh, yeah.
Based off what I've been reading, and this joke popping out books that's 3 and 4 inches thick. Right. He said, this is what I do on a night shift and stuff. And I'm like, he said, I read these books. And he said, I'm glad I'm Catholic. I can just do whatever I want whenever I want.
Right. Is there something?
Go back and do that, whatever they do, and then take their communion. He can do what he wants.
Right.
Cannibalism. Drinking blood and eating the flesh. Cannibalism.
Like that song?
Wow.
Wicked, man. Wicked.
That's the opposite of what he said.
Right.
You know what? The thing, one of the things that killed me about that is when in Jeremiah, remember the angel came and he said he took one of the coals from off the altar and wiped it on his lips and told him, your sins have passed away.
Right.
Think about that. So what JC got to do with it? If he can hot coals off of the altar and come down there and wipe these hot coals on Jeremiah, and then Jeremiah's sins have passed away, they forgotten. Then what's the story in the New Testament about?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then you do that on 3 or 4 different occasions when you do that.
And if that's the case, then we don't need the priest and the Day of Atonement. If JC take away your sins,
right? Exactly.
You know, that's what I'm saying. If we wouldn't need a priest, the priest or the Day of Atonement.
Right. Exactly.
And we know that's essential to Israel.
And ain't he gonna bring back sacrifice when we get in the land?
Yeah. Right. Yeah, he's gonna bring back sacrifice.
So,
right. That's the crazy part about it.
What the use of JC?
Right.
Come on, Lamar. JC is your flocks and herds, bro.
Yeah.
Right. Human blood. Human blood.
Didn't he say I'm on water?
Don't go fishing because I got some right here. And the breed.
Hey, and that's another one he's attacking. You know, he fed the multitude with fish and bread, and look at the stores, the shelves in the stores.
Right.
You know, he's attacking his miracles from every end.
Yeah, show me some.
Right. Yeah. Well, another way when you look at that too is you look at how Elijah and Elisha.
Right.
He did the same miracles. They just put them on him.
I know that was a copycat. Yeah.
Right.
Well, most of his acts is copycats.
Right.
Because him walking on water is the Lord of hosts walking on water in the book of Daniel. So, you know.
And we know how that story with Elijah ended when he built them altars and he got them prophets of Baal, man, and he put them to death.
Right, exactly. So
and another blueprint is just like JC says, there's no way to do God other than through me. And you go to the Catholic Church, the only way you get your sins forgiven is going to the priest.
Right.
So it's the same. No, they're duplicating their lies.
Right.
Yeah.
Is there something?
It's getting exposed.
Oh yeah.
No, latter days, knowledge has increased.
No human sacrifice. Man.
Right. Yeah. He told Ruth, the Moabite, she was a priestess. She the one they gave the baby to, and when she took the baby and put it on the fire, a Moloch, he told her it never crossed his mind. He never
crossed his mind.
Yeah, I ain't never had no plan for make no human sacrifice.
So how
off my mind? Go ahead.
How that end up in a New Testament?
Yeah, exactly. Right. That's because these fallen angels require
exactly.
That's what that is.
Yep.
They brainwashed us and got us doing
everything he told us not to do in the Only Testament. They come up with a New Testament that tell us the opposite.
Right. We fell for it.
Yep.
We fell for it. He told us he was gonna bring us over here and we was gonna worship their God. He ain't said nothing about he's gonna worship him or his son. He said you're gonna go over there, I'm gonna scatter you, and you're gonna go over there with the Gentiles and worship their gods.
Right. In book of Ezekiel, he said gonna give us laws that we can't live by.
Right.
And true enough. These laws are destructive to us in the New Testament.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah, Michael, it's like Michael, because of JC and stuff and what he's saying, I can't really talk to you anymore. So everything you've been doing for me this whole time, you got to stop doing it. I gotta listen to JC. See how far you get with that.
So JC, he took the Lord of Hosts plays. He took King David.
Right. Right.
Wait, don't stop there. He took all 7 of the angels.
Yeah.
Don't stop there. Yeah, he took everybody's place.
Everybody.
I sat on the right hand of the Father.
Right.
Yeah.
That's how he blew up. That's how he blew up.
Yeah.
That's what people can't understand.
Man.
Ain't that something?
It's a strong drug, man.
Yeah, strong delusion.
He that great but can't heal corona.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
It's
I said, they all went on vacation all last year while the coronavirus is out.
Yeah.
Pick right back up, act like the coronavirus ain't never came.
Them and all they false prophets.
Yeah, everybody took a vacation when the coronavirus came.
Sound like our Congress.
Right. Yeah, ain't that something? That's just like the Israelites. When Nebuchadnezzar came the first time, and when he left, they picked right back up, not knowing Lord of Hosts gonna bring him right back again 2 more times. Ain't that something?
Yep.
Here we go again on the second phase.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is that something?
That's some.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna read this. I'm gonna read out of Joshua chapter, starting at chapter 67. It came up the other day. It was dealing with just what we talk about now, how they done tricked us off and flipped these the understanding around. So I'm in verse chapter 67. It says, there was a man in the land of Egypt, of the seed of Levi, whose name was Aram, the son of Kil, son of Levi, the son of Israel. And this man went and took a wife, namely Jochebed, the daughter of Levi, his father's sister, and she was 126 years old. And he became her, and he came unto her, and the woman conceived and bore a daughter, and she called her name Miriam, because in those days the Egyptians had embittered the lives of the children of Israel. And she conceived again and bore a son and called his name Aaron. And in the days of her conception, Pharaoh began to spill the blood of the male children of Israel. And in those days died Zephno, the son of Eliphaz, son of Esau, king of Checham, and Janus reigned in his stead. Right? It says in the time that Zephno reigned over the children of Checham was 50 years, and he died and was buried in the city of Mebna in the land of Checham. And Janus, one of the mighty men of the children of Checham, reigned after him, and he reigned 50 years. And it was after the death of the king of Checham, Balaam, son of Peor, fled from the land of Checham, and he went and came to Egypt, to the Pharaoh, king of Egypt. And Pharaoh received him with great honor, for he had heard of his wisdom, and he gave him presents and made him for a counselor and aggrandized him. And Balaam dwelt in Egypt in honor with all the nobles of the king, and the nobles exalted him because they all coveted to learn his wisdom.
Hey, Leonard, can I interrupt you for a second? Is this Janus, who they made king? Isn't that the son of Balaam?
I'm not sure. I don't think so. Janus and Janus is spelled, Balaam's son was spelled Janus.
Okay, gotcha.
It's spelled Janeas.
Gotcha. Okay.
I'm gonna check it out though. So 9 says, and the Pharaoh received him with great honor, and he had heard of his wisdom, and he gave him presents and made him a counselor and grandized him. And Balaam dwelt in Egypt in honor with all the nobles of the king, and nobles exalted him because they all coveted to learn his wisdom. And in the 130th year of Israel's going down into Egypt, Pharaoh dreamed that he was sitting upon his kingly throne, and lifted up his eyes and saw an old man standing before him, and there were scales in the hands of the old man, such scales as are used by merchants. It says, and the old man, okay, they don't have this in the New Testament. I mean, they don't have this in the King James. So it says, and the old man took scales and hung them before Pharaoh. And the old man took all the elders of Egypt and all his nobles and great men, and he tied them together and put them in one scale. And he took a milk kid and put it into to the other scale, and the kid preponderated over all. And the Pharaoh was astonished at this dreadful vision, why the kid should preponderate over all. And the Pharaoh awoke, and behold, it was a dream. And the Pharaoh rose up early in the morning, called all his servants, and related to them the dream. And the men were greatly afraid. And the king said to all his wise men, interpret, I pray you, the dream which I dreamed, that I may know it. And Balaam the son of Beor answered the king and said unto him, this means nothing else but a great evil that will spring up against Israel in the latter days. For a son will be born to Israel, who will destroy all Egypt and its inhabitants, and bring forth the Israelites from Egypt with a mighty hand. Now therefore, O king, take counsel upon this matter, that you may destroy the hope of the children of Israel and their expectations before this evil arise against Egypt. And all the king said unto Balaam, and what shall we do unto Israel? Surely after a certain manner did we at first counsel against them and could not prevail over them. Now therefore give you also advice against them, by which we may prevail over them. And Balaam answered the king, saying, send now and call thy two counselors. Look at this. Send now and call thy two counselors, and we will see what their advice is upon this matter. And afterwards, thy servants will speak. And the king sent and called his two counselors. Look at this. Rahul the Midianite and Job the Uzite. And they came and sat before the king. So this is Job in the book of Job. Okay? It says 25. And the king said to them, behold, you have both heard the dream which I have dreamed, and interpretation thereof. Now therefore give counsel, and know and see what is to be done to the children of Israel, whereby we may prevail over them, but their evil shall spring up against us. Right? So look at this. So the Israelites got anointing on them, right?
Right.
Right.
They got the Spirit of God on them, right? So look what it say right here. This is what they've done to us today. 25 says, and the king said to them, behold, you have both heard the dream which I have dreamed, and interpretation thereof. Now therefore give us counsel, and know and see what is to be done to the children of Israel, whereby we may prevail over them before their evil shall spring up against us. See how they flip everything on us? So now they didn't gave us Job over there, got us thinking Job is Israelite, but we see right here, Job is Edomite. So watch this. And watch this. You say, well, what you talking about? Say, Rahul the Midianite answered the king and said, may the king live. May the king live forever. And it seemed good to the king. Let him desist from the Hebrews and leave them, and let them not stretch forth his hand against them. So in 28, for these are they whom the Lord chose in the days of old, and took as a lot of his inheritance, or from among all the nations of the earth, and the kings of the earth, who in theirs is there that stretched his hand against them with iniquity, of whom their God was not avenged. So this guy Rahul, in case you're not wondering, he's from Abraham by his second wife after Sarah died. Okay, so he telling them the truth. 29. Surely thou knowest that when Abraham went down into Egypt, Pharaoh, the former king of Egypt, saw Sarah his wife and took her for a wife, because Abraham said, she is my sister. For he was afraid lest the men of Egypt should slay him on account of his wife. And when the king of Egypt had taken Sarah, then God smote him and his household with heavy plagues until he restored unto Abraham his wife. Then was he healed. And Amalek the Gerite, king of the Philistines, God punished on account of Sarah, wife of Abraham, in stopping up every womb from the men and the beast. And when their God came to Amalek in the dream of night and terrified him in order that he might restore to Abraham Sarah, whom he had taken, and afterwards all the people of Gerar were punished on account of Sarah, and Abraham prayed to his God for them, and he was entreated of him, and he healed them. And Amalek feared all this evil that came upon him and his people, and he returned to Abraham his wife Sarah, and gave him with her many gifts. And he did so also to Isaac, when he had driven him from Gerar, and God had done wonderful things to him, that all the water courses of Gerar were dried up, and their productive trees did not bring forth. And Amalek of Gerar, and Ahazah, one of his friends, and Pekah, the captain of his host, went to him, and they bent and bowed down before him to the ground, and they requested of him to supplicate for them, and he prayed to the Lord for them, and the Lord was entreated of him, and he healed them. And Jacob also, a plain man, was delivered through his integrity from the hand of his brother Esau, and the hand of Laban the Syrian, his mother's brother, who had sought his life, likewise from the hand of the kings of Canaan, who had come together against him and his children to destroy them. And the Lord delivered them out of their hands, that they turned upon them and smote them. For who had ever stretched forth his hands against them with impunity? Surely Pharaoh the former, thy father's father, raised Joseph, the son of Jacob, above all the princes of the land of Egypt, when he saw his wisdom. For through his wisdom he rescued all the inhabitants of the land from the famine. And after which he ordered Jacob and his children to come down to Egypt, in order that through their virtue the land of Egypt and the land of Goshen might be delivered from the famine. Now therefore, if it seem good in thine eyes, cease from destroying the children of Israel. But if it be not thy will that they should dwell in Egypt, send them forth from here, and that they may go to the land of Canaan, the land where their ancestors sojourned. And when the Pharaoh heard these words of Jethro, see that it's Jethro, the same one Moses married his daughter. The words of Jethro, he was very angry with him, so that he rose with shame from the king's presence and went to Midian, to his land, and he took Joseph's stick with him. Right? So here we go. And the king said to Job, see that? Here goes Job out of the Bible, King James. It's an Edomite. Job the Uzite, what sayest thou, Job? And what is thy advice respecting the Hebrew? So Job said to the king, behold, all the children, says, let me see, Job said to the king, behold, all the inhabitants of the land are in thy power. Let the king do as it seems good in his eyes. And the king said unto Balaam, what doest thou say, Balaam? Speak thy words that we may hear it. And Balaam said to the king, of all that the king hath counseled against the Hebrews will they be delivered, and the king will not be able to prevail over them with any counsel. For if thou thinkest to lessen them by the flaming fire, thou canst not prevail over them. And surely that God delivered Abraham, their father, from Ur of the Chaldeans, and if thou thinkest to destroy them with the sword, surely Isaac, thy father, was delivered from it, and a ram was placed in its stead. And with hard and righteous rigorous labor, thou thinkest to lessen them, thou wilt not prevail even in this. For their father Jacob served Laban in all manner of hard work and prospered. Now therefore, O king, hear my words, for this is the counsel which I counsel against them, by which thou wilt prevail over them, and from which thou shouldest not depart. If it please the king, let him order all the children which shall be born from this day forward to be thrown into the water. For by this canst thou wipe away their name, for none of them nor of their fathers were tried in this manner. And the king heard the words of Balaam, and the thing pleased the king and the princes, and the king did according to the words of Balaam. So let's look at that for a minute. Okay? He advised them, let me blow my nose right quick, excuse me. So It's big right here. So he says, 46 says, for if thou thinkest to lessen them by flaming fire, thou cannot not prevail over them. For surely that God delivered Abraham their father from Ur the Chaldeans, and if thou thinkest to destroy them with a sword, surely Isaac their father was delivered from it, and a ram was placed in his stead. And if with hard and rigorous labor thou thinkest to lessen them, thou wilt not prevail even in this. For their father Jacob served Laban in all manner of hard work and prosper. Now watch this. Like I said, this is gonna let you know you be dealing with supernatural powers, right? You know, and the Most High said that when these giants died, the spirit stayed here. It's on the earth. It's been here. And so it says, 48. Now therefore, O King, hear my words. Look at this. For this is the counsel which is counsel against them, by which thou may prevail over them. This is how you're gonna prevail over them, and from which thou shouldst not depart. If it please the king, let him order all the children which shall be born from this day forward be thrown into the water. See that? Did that ring a bell?
Yeah.
What happened? What happened?
They sacrificing children.
Yeah. He said let them be thrown in the water, right?
Right.
So he was drowning them in the Nile River, right?
Like Pharaoh. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. What happened in the transatlantic slave trade?
Wow. Yeah.
Ain't that so?
Right.
So look at this here. Look at this here.
Ships.
I'm gonna read it again.
Wow.
So he says 46. Well, if thou thinkest to lessen them by, look at this, if you think you're gonna lessen them by flaming fire, we know what happened to Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Thou could not prevail over them, but surely that God delivered Abraham. They don't tell us that story. Abraham was delivered from the fire furnace, from Ur or the Chaldeans. And if thou thinkest to destroy them by the sword, see that? Surely Isaac, their father was, Abraham was going to cut him with a sword, was delivered from it. Look at this. This killed JC. And the ram was placed in his stead. See, they don't tell you that part. It was a ram sacrifice. Isaac wasn't sacrificed. So then 47. And if with hard and rigorous labor thou thinkest to lessen them, thou would not prevail even in this. For their father Jacob served Laban in all manner of hard work, and he prospered. Then 48. Now, therefore, O king, hear my words, for this is the counsel which is counsel against them, by which thou wilt prevail over them. This is how you're going to prevail over them, and from which thou shouldst not depart. Don't depart from it. Just because you throw them in the river in Egypt, that ain't enough. Come on. So 49. If it please the king, let him order all the children which thou shall be born from this day forward be thrown into the water. Come on now. Say, for by this cannot thou wipe away their name, for none of them nor of their fathers were tried in this matter. So we see that they took that advice because he picked it from that day forward. Come on. You think they throw something in the water in the Nile River, go dig up and go look in the bottom of the Red Sea. The bottom of the Atlantic. So,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The king heard the words of Balaam, and the thing pleased the king and the princesses, and the king did according to the words of Balaam. And the king ordered a proclamation to be issued and a law to be made throughout all the land of Egypt, that every male child born to the Hebrews from this day, look at this, from this day forward, shall be thrown into the water. Come on now. And the Pharaoh called unto all his servants, saying, go now and seek throughout the land of Goshen, where the children of Israel are, and see that every son to the Hebrews shall be cast into the river, but every daughter shall be saved, shall he let live. And when the children of Israel heard this thing which Pharaoh had commanded, cast their male children into the river, some of the people separated from their wives, and others abhorred to them. All right, and from that day forward, when the time of delivery arrived to those women of Israel who had remained with their husbands, they went to the field to bring forth there, and they brought forth in the field, and left their children upon the field and returned home. And the Lord who had sworn to their ancestors to multiply them sent one of his ministering angels, which are in heaven, to watch each child in water, and to anoint and swathe it, and to put it in the hands of two smooth stones, from one of which is sucked milk, and from the other honey. And he caused its hair to grow to its knees, by which it might cover itself, and to comfort it, and to cleave to it through his compassion for it. And when God had compassion over them, and had desired to multiply them upon the face of the land, he ordered his earth to receive them, to be preserved therein till the time of their growing up. And after which the earth opened its mouth and vomited them forth, and they spewed out from the city like an herb of the earth, and the grass of the forest. And they returned each to his family and to his mother's house, and they remained with him. And there's some, and the babies of the children of Israel were upon the earth like the herbs of the field, through God's grace to them. And when all the Egyptians saw this thing, they went forth, each to his field with his yoke of oxen and his plowshare, and they plowed it up as one of the plows of the earth at seed time. And when they plowed, they were unable to hurt the infants of the children of Israel. So the people increased and waxed exceedingly. And the Pharaoh ordered his officers daily to go to Goshen to seek the babes of the children of Israel. And when they had sought and found one, they took it in from his mother's bosom by force, threw it to the river. But the female child they left with his mother. Thus did the Egyptians do to the Israelites all their days. Okay, so anybody got any comments?
Yeah, that's amazing that king of Egypt had those three counselors.
Ain't that so?
Job, Balaam, and Jethro, which leads to another connection of the dot, in the sense that when Moses went to Midian, right, Jethro threw him in prison, in the dungeon, right, for 10 years.
Exactly.
So he threw him in a dungeon because he was once Pharaoh, the king of Egypt's counselor. So he was worried about the Egyptians coming to claim Moses.
Right. He's trying to get back in favor with him too.
Right. Because he left in the shame. Yeah, right. That's the dot I was connecting. Yes, sir.
Right. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, you're right. Ain't there something?
Man, it's deep. It's deep, bro.
Oh yeah, all right. Ain't there something? And so now that lets you know how wicked they is, because don't you know that if you trying to kill some people, and then God had the children out there sucking on a rock, on one rock where they getting milk out of, the other rock they getting honey out of, until they got up to a certain age. Come on, man. You got to be wicked as hell to keep on trying to deal with that God, and you see him doing that type of stuff.
Right.
And just like
you trying to kill him with a plowshare.
They come and try to plow him up. It's already miraculous enough that they're out there growing up in the field, but you won't go out there and try to plow them up. Wicked as hell. Ain't that what they're doing to us over here? Because we should have been destroyed.
That's true.
We still here. We still multiplying.
Right.
Come on. And so, like I said, he said, we was reading the other day when he said he operated as he did in the days of old. Ain't nothing new. He operated like he did in the days of old. So he delivered them. Come on, he gonna deliver us. Gotta know that.
Man, there's another thought that I got in this too, Leonard. So this is and brothers, your input would be great in this. Now, let's say that Job is Job is a Edomite, right?
Right.
So this is proof that that King James thing been tampered with, right? Because that obvious book of Job can't be talking about Job.
Nah, that ain't Job, right?
Exactly. There got to be some other Israelite that right. And they put Job's name there.
Right. Exactly.
Well, I can't see an Edomite getting the whole book.
Right. That was the point I was making, is that they denigrated our patriarchs, and they took their patriarchs and put them in the scriptures and lifted them up. Like I said, Noah drunk. He wasn't no drunk for the flood. See what I'm saying? I can see he was getting drunk before the flood. Then, as soon as the water receded, he got out the boat and got drunk. He wasn't drunk before the flood. Most I say you're perfect.
And why couldn't the man get drunk? He saw all this death and destruction before he died, and he finally came to a place of rest and safety. That man wanted a drink.
Yeah, he needed one. Yeah.
He needed that.
Right, but they ain't finished there. They said that the act that happened, he got sodomized.
Oh yeah.
See what I'm saying? Come on, man. Now that we know who these people is over there in Israel right now we know. See what I'm saying? Only they can come up with something as twisted as that. Come on, man.
All right.
Come on.
Yeah, they got us believing everything, man.
Right.
You know, they come back from a war with PSD. Noah just wanted a drink.
Right. Like that song?
Man, that's crazy.
Yeah. Like that song. That's crazy, man. Like I say, you know, put my head on a guillotine, you gotta take me back.
Man, just in y'all opinion though, what forefather of ours would you think that book would have been about though, the book of Job?
I would say Enoch.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Because when you look at it, he in all our conversation with the Most High.
Mm-hmm.
See what I'm saying? So Enoch the only one was taken up. And then and the time that this happened, it couldn't be Moses.
Oh no, we know it's not. Yeah.
So it had to be.
It has to be, to me, I think it has to be pre-Abraham.
Right. So when you understand that Enoch was taken up, right? And then in different parts of the story of Job, he telling them about what angels over water, angels that's over the rain, angels over snow, and all that. That's Enoch.
Okay.
He the one he was translated through all of heaven and shown out the goings on of heaven. So you know, it's all makes sense to me is Enoch.
Okay.
Yeah, because Enoch even talked about before Abel's death, there was no place for the human soul because there's not a one was dead.
Right.
And that's he was. So it would more likely be it could be Enoch.
He don't sound like none of the prophets.
Right.
Yeah, it definitely got to be before Abraham.
Right. Yeah. Pre-Adamic.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Before the flood.
Right.
And that's something.
Yep.
Okay. Well, you got a suggestion? Who you think it might be?
No, I just the question just came to mind then.
Okay.
You know, I was thinking Noah, but there was no friends around because you know he was visited by 3 or 4 friends there. So,
right.
But no, I don't have anyone to really pinpoint outside of Noah. But other events kind of eliminate him from being that particular person.
Right. Yeah. Well, you know that's what I was saying about the melanin. You know, the Most High gonna bust that wide open. He's gonna bring it to the light.
Oh yeah.
Once you pose the question, you go to work. Yeah.
Yep.
Is there something?
Yep. In a few days or a week or so, we'll have that answer.
Right. Exactly. Somebody gonna come on there with it, or
right.
Yeah. Is there something?
Somebody gonna connect the dot, man. This is who it is.
Is there something?
Right.
All right. Anybody else got anything? Yeah. So we got about I'll say 15 more minutes or so. Nobody got anything or they want to bring up? I'm trying to put these characters out there so we can do some research on them and bring them into the play. So at the Council of Nicaea, everybody know about the Council of Nicaea, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's where they canonized all these books in the New Testament. Where they had Constantine was over it. He was a ruling officer over the whole thing, but he had his right hand sidekick, Ebus of Caesarea, and that's what I want everybody to do. You know, do some Google search on that and check it out. Ebus of Caesarea. Yeah. And we'll talk about it, and we'll bring it up and see what everybody found out about it.
The what is Caesarea? Say that one more time.
Ebus.
Ebus.
Ebus is Caesarea. Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Hey, Leonard, I got one last question for you for tonight, though.
What you got?
Genesis 37, 9 and 10. Can that be a precept for Daniel 8, 9 through 10?
So, give me that verse again.
Genesis 37, verses 9 through 10.
Genesis 37, verses 9 through 10.
Yes.
Okay. Says, and he dreamed yet another dream and told it to his brethren and said, Behold, I have dreamed a dream more, and behold, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars made obstinance unto me. And he told it to his father and to his brethren, and his father rebuked him and said unto him, What is this dream that thou hast dreamed? Shall I and my mother and thy brethren indeed come to bow down ourselves to thee, to the earth?
All right. So is that a precept to Daniel chapter 8, verses 9 through 10?
Daniel 8, 9 and 10. Daniel 8. Says, and out of them came forth a little horn. Now, you said Daniel 8?
Yeah, 9 through 10. Well, mostly verse 10.
That's Gentiles.
Okay, so in 10, when it said, and it waxed great even to the host of heaven, and it cast down some of the hosts and of the stars to the ground and stamped upon them, that's not referring to our people that happened to?
Yeah, it says so it says this little horn which is waxed great even to the host of heaven, and it cast some of them hosts and of the stars to the ground and stomped upon them. That's the Israelites.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So I the precept that I used in Genesis 37, where Joseph looked at his mother and father and brothers as stars, the sun, moon, and stars, that's the host of heaven too, correct?
Right, but it's not no, it's just that's the mother and that's why if you notice, you go back and look at Abraham got offended because he said, "What you mean? You saying me and your mother gonna bow down to you?" See what I'm saying? But like I said before, when did they not do that? They done that when they got to Egypt. When Joseph, they finally found who he was, they bowed down to him. So to answer that question, Most High told them to do what? Don't bow down to no animal or nothing, not even the stars, the host of heaven.
Right. I guess I'm saying they don't actually bow down to those heavenly bodies, but they use it metaphorically.
Right. Well, symbolize.
Right.
Symbolically.
It's symbolism,
Right.
Yeah, that's what I'm referring to as being a precept. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. You can join the two in that way. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But not actually going out looking up in the sky, seeing the moon and start,
right.
No.
Exactly.
No, we don't do that.
No.
You might get zapped.
Is that song?
Right.
Okay. Anybody else got anything? Okay, yeah. So let me
forgot what I was going to say.
Okay.
Oh, I forgot.
Okay, you good?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm still working on this Zoom.
I remember. And the Council of Nicaea, how you say it? Council of Nicaea?
The Council of Nicaea.
Nicaea. Would you what consisted of that council of the people that's sitting there? it was all Edomites? Was it like because I'm thinking was any of the what's his name that family came from the Islamic type folks? Because I'm trying to figure out how the Islam came into play.
Islam came in later with the the Church of Sophia and all that. That's where Islam came in. Edomites, just like they concocted the New Testament at the Council of Nicaea, Esau concocted the Quran.
And the Muslim faith and stuff like that. Yeah.
It was called Muhammadan before it became Islam.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, that's it.
Go ahead. Okay. So with that being said, I'm gonna see everybody tomorrow at 7:00. Like I said, I'm trying to work on get working my jelly on that Zoom, try to get it right. Meanwhile, we're gonna keep going with the show.
All right. Shalom, brothers.
Yeah.
Great class, brother.
Great class.
I'll see y'all tomorrow.
Okay.
All right.
Shalom.
Shalom.